Yeah, it's good. I like it a lot. It's probably my favorite of the Sonic movies so far. It's not perfect, but if you went into this movie expecting perfection, you probably need to be institutionalized. It's a Sonic the Hedgehog movie, pal. I like the first two films, and I think the third one does what the first two did, but better. First and foremost, this is obviously a film that is catered to a younger audience, just like the first two, so you should go in there expecting that kind of zaniness and that kind of like in-your-face, childish exposition moments. Like, Sonic, he's too strong, don't do it! Remember about your friends, we care about you, we're a team, Sonic. Team means dream. That kind of thing. That's really okay, like it didn't bother me. Shadow's probably my favorite character in the Sonic universe, canonically the only one with a potty mouth saying damn in the Xbox game, using that sailor language while also using an AK-47 or whatever gun he was wielding. I'm pretty sure it was an AK. So I always thought he was cool, and I think this movie does a really good job with him. Unfortunately, he doesn't say damn in this movie, which is a bit of a missed opportunity. Sorry to spoil it for everyone out there. But maybe there is a script that exists where they did have Shadow go even harder saying, fuck you, Sonic, before hitting him with a tombstone. But unfortunately, that's not the draft we got. Also, speaking of, after watching this movie, it really just makes me salivate at the idea of what this might have looked like if the original Sonic design went through. You know, like the horrifying, like $5 cosplay Sonic they had from the first trailer, like all those years ago, before the internet bullied them into fixing it. I really want to see what Shadow the Hedgehog would have looked like in this movie with that being the design. Somewhere in the multiverse, that movie shipped, was still successful, and we got 3 films all in that atrocious, terrifying style of Sonic, where it looked like a Lovecraftian fucking BDSM outfit that someone put on. So, I was just thinking about that when watching the film. I would have loved to see what that draft looked like. But yeah, point is, Shadow was great in this film. Keanu Reeves did a good job with the character. I have a huge appreciation for Keanu Reeves' work. I love that man. If I ever met him in real life, I imagine it'd be a lot like how the scene in this film plays out when Sonic and Shadow meet each other for the first time. They keep asking, why do you look like me? That's probably how our interaction would go. But actually, the breakout superstar of Sonic 3 isn't Shadow. It's Dr. Robotnik. You get the double whammy here with normal Robotnik and Gerald Robotnik, both played by Jim Carrey, who really seems to be enjoying this role. This is some of Jim Carrey's finest work in a long time, and I mean that unironically. He fucking crushes it here. Like, I had liked him in the previous 2 films, of course, but this is, like, he did so well here, and honestly, I'm pretty sure both Robotniks have the most screen time in this film. Like, every other character put together, all of Team Sonic, I imagine don't even have half of the screen time that Gerald and Robotnik have here. So you get a lot of Jim Carrey, and he is great in the role. I actually laughed out loud at one of the scenes, which I hadn't done really in the other 2 Sonic films. Like, there were scenes I obviously appreciated, but the comedy from Jim Carrey in this one, I thought was just so spectacular. And there was a scene in particular that really hit close to home for me, which is usually a type of scene I fucking hate. It's a dancing number. They had like a really silly dance scene going through some lasers and like a spy mission that was going on. And the dance they did is literally almost beat for beat the way I dance when I go to a club. They actually, both Robotniks, Jim Carrey, were hitting the fucking shuffling back and forth, hitting him with some of these. Literally how I dance, I wouldn't be surprised to learn that they may have mocapped me for it. So yeah, I really had a great time with this movie, but I do need to mention there are some moments here in the story that really have you raise an eyebrow. And you can overlook a lot of things because, you know, it is a movie that caters towards a young audience, but there are some things where I was like, come on, really? Like, I'm trying not to get into spoilers, but there are sometimes they'll set up something, like a problem, and then in the next scene it's just fixed without ever really getting to a solution to fix that problem. It'll be like, oh man, Sonic, how are we going to do this? Oh, thank heaven, Sonic, we did it. It's like, well, how did you do it? It's kind of hard to talk about without spoiling things. I'm going to try and talk around it. But, like, an example. Since teleportation is on the table here, there are a lot of times where getting places just happens instantly, which is fine. Fast travel's on whatever, that doesn't matter. but the narrative also sometimes just fast travels. So like, oh man, how can I talk about this one that won't be obvious? Characters will see something and immediately change their entire personality upon just seeing it once. Characters that have been locked in their ways for many, many years will see like, oh, so you care about that person. Wait, I'm a good guy. And that'll be like the revelation moment. Like it's not like a steady build up to something. Things will just immediately happen. Or a problem that seems like, how are they going to solve it, just magically gets solved. So like, a building that has a giant energy field around it that you can't really penetrate, so you need to bust in from the inside. So they have two people go in with hologram projectors to disguise themselves, and the plan is, we're going to say that we're here for lunch. They learn that the building's on lockdown, so they're like, no, we're on lockdown, you guys can't come in here. So then instead they say, do you want me to get you fired? And the guy's like, no, wait, I don't want you to get me fired. Okay, yeah, you guys can come in. And that's how they infiltrate. It's like, what the fuck? This building is on lockdown, a security alert, this is DEF CON, and you're telling me by just saying that you're going to get this guy fired somehow, he just immediately caved and let you in? That shit is going to get him fired. Like, what in tarnation? There's a lot of times that a problem gets solved like that, you know what I mean? I don't think that was a big spoiler or anything. Also, there is some times where, like, Dr. Robotnik's got a crab, and this crab, it can be underwater. In fact, we see it rise from the water early on. Well, towards the end of the movie, that crab gets destroyed because a tunnel that it's in gets flooded. The crab that is fine underwater gets destroyed by being in a flooded tunnel underwater. How the fuck is that? You established this crab is an amphibious machine. Why would water be the thing that destroys it? You know, like, ew. Not the biggest deal in the world, but I just had to mention that. Maybe I missed something with the crab scene in particular. But yeah, again, it is a movie that's clearly aimed at a younger audience, but can be enjoyed by anyone of all ages, and I think it does a really good job. As I said, it's my favorite in the franchise so far. So yeah, I liked Sonic 3. I think it's a good film. I think the action is also really good. There's a lot of it too. They have some really good action sequences, especially in the early parts of the film. It builds a lot of momentum early on, and then at the end, a lot of momentum again, and the action sequences are really good. One thing that really surprised me, and this has nothing to do with the film itself, I saw this film today. It's Thursday, opening day. Usually these movies are packed when I go and see them right when they release, except for things like fucking Craven, because no one was ever going to see that movie in the first place. This time around, though, only one other person in the theater. Not exaggerating. There's only one other person in the theater with me. We even talked a little bit. That was it. On the premiere night. I don't know why. Maybe because it is a movie that's made for a younger audience, and I went at like 9:45, so that's pretty late. But even still, in the past, there's never really been an instant where there's only one other person in the theater with me. Like even the biggest fucking flopperooskies like Megaflopolis and Madam Web had more than a couple of people in there with me. Like there was a few more souls, but for some reason Sonic 3 was just me and him, which is fine. I mean, hey, that was cool. But really surprised to see that it wasn't popping off. So yeah, good movie. That's about it. Yeah.